It happened when I rushed to the operating room, gripped by terror upon hearing that my husband was in critical condition. Suddenly a nurse grabbed me. "Hide and trust me," she whispered urgently. I obeyed and concealed myself in a nearby storage room. 10 minutes later the door opened, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Please hit the notification button and comment where you are watching from. That night, rain hammered against the windows as if nature itself was weeping. The clock in Zara's apartment had just struck midnight. Zara, wrapped in a cotton robe, paced anxiously across her living room. She checked her silent phone repeatedly. Her husband, Marcus, hadn't come home yet, and something felt deeply wrong. Marcus managed a major construction firm, and late nights weren't unusual. But tonight was different. A heavy dread had settled in her chest. Earlier that day, they'd argued about finances. Zara had suggested cutting back on unnecessary expenses, but Marcus had snapped at her, claiming she didn't understand the pressures of his work. Usually Marcus would text her, "Still at work, traffic's bad. Don't wait up." But tonight, silence. Zara had called him 3 times. The first rang without answer. The second and third went straight to voicemail. His battery must be dead, Zara told herself, but the uneasy feeling wouldn't fade. The rain grew heavier outside, drumming against the windows like a warning. Zara approached the glass and pulled back the curtains. The street below was empty, slick with rain and reflecting the streetlights in distorted patterns. At 12:30 a.m., the landline's sharp ring shattered the silence. Zara jumped, her heart racing. The house phone rarely rang anymore. With trembling hands she answered. "Hello. Am I speaking with Mrs. Zara, wife of Mr. Marcus?" Cold professional voice asked. "Yes, this is she. Has something happened to my husband?" "Ma'am, please stay calm. Your husband, Mr. Marcus, has been in a serious traffic accident on Highway 285. An ambulance has transported him to Metropolitan General Hospital. His condition is critical. He's being taken to the operating room for emergency surgery right now." Zara's world tilted. The phone felt slippery in her grip. Critical surgery. The words barely escaped her lips. "Yes, ma'am. Dr. Vincent Sterling, our chief of surgery, will lead the operation. You should come to the hospital immediately." "Yes. Yes, I'm leaving now." Zara hung up without waiting for a response. For several seconds she stood paralyzed. Then adrenaline surged through her veins. She grabbed a coat and her car keys, not bothering to change from her pajamas. The drive to Metropolitan General normally took 30 minutes, but that night, blinded by rain and panic, the journey felt endless. Zara drove recklessly, tears mixing with the rain on the windshield. The wipers worked frantically but couldn't clear away her fear. Images flashed through her mind. Marcus laughing at dinner last week, Marcus angry during their argument. Guilt stabbed at her. What if their fight had been their last conversation? "Please God, save him," Zara whispered over and over. Finally, the towering white structure of Metropolitan General appeared. She parked haphazardly in the emergency zone and ran inside, breathless and soaked. "My husband, Marcus, traffic accident," she gasped at the information desk. The nurse checked her computer. "Marcus?" "Yes, he's been taken to the 5th floor surgical wing. Take that elevator and turn right. Operating room 5. Zara didn't wait. She ran to the emergency stairs and climbed 5 floors without stopping, her heart pounding violently. At the top, she entered a long, sterile corridor lit by harsh fluorescent lights. At the end of the hall, she saw the double steel doors. Above them, a red light glowed next to words that froze her. "Operating room 5 in session." Marcus was in there, fighting for his life. Zara ran toward the doors, hand outstretched to push them open. Just as her fingertips grazed the cold metal, a firm hand grabbed her arm. "Don't do it." Zara spun around, startled. A young nurse with frightened eyes stood before her. Her ID badge read, "Keisha, RN. You're Marcus's wife, right?" Nurse Keisha whispered urgently. Yes, my husband is in there. I have to. No. Keisha's grip tightened, pulling Zara away from the doors. You can't go in. They can't know you're here. What do you mean? Who are they? My husband is dying. Listen to me carefully. Keisha's eyes locked onto Zara's with desperate intensity. This isn't a rescue operation. It's a trap. The word paralyzed Zara. A trap. Dr. Sterling is in there, and that's exactly the problem, Keisha hissed. There's no time. You have to hide. Now. Keisha pulled Zara toward an unmarked wooden door partially hidden behind a vending machine. This is a staff break room. Lock yourself inside. Don't make a sound no matter what you hear. Don't come out until I get you. Why should I trust you? Because I saw your husband's real medical chart before Dr. Sterling altered it. He's not in critical condition from any accident. That sentence struck home. Keisha pushed Zara through the door into darkness. Lock it and trust me, she whispered before closing the door. Alone in complete darkness, Zara fumbled for the lock and turned it. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She slid down to the cold floor, hugging her knees. Trap. Fake chart. Dr. Sterling. Nothing made sense, yet Keisha's terror had been too real to ignore. Zara crawled to the door and pressed her ear against it. Silence. She checked her phone. 1 a.m. Every second felt like an hour. She waited in suffocating darkness, her mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Was Keisha crazy? Or had she just saved Zara's life? 5 minutes passed. 7 minutes. 10 agonizing minutes. Then she heard it. A soft click from the hallway. The red light above operating room 5 had turned off. The operation was over. Zara pressed her eye to a crack in the door. The steel doors hissed open. Dr. Vincent Sterling emerged first, still in surgical scrubs, mask pulled down. He didn't look like a doctor who'd just fought for a patient's life. He looked relaxed, methodical, peeling off blood-stained gloves. Then a second figure appeared. Zara expected a gurney. She expected Marcus's unconscious body. Instead, Marcus walked out on his own 2 feet, wearing surgical scrubs like part of the medical team. He stretched casually, rolling his neck as if he'd been sitting too long. He was completely healthy, unharmed. Zara covered her mouth, suppressing a whimper. This was impossible. Then a third person emerged. A tall woman with flowing hair and an elegant dress under her white coat. Simone. Marcus's executive assistant. The woman who always looked at Zara with barely concealed disdain at company events. The plan worked perfectly. Marcus's voice echoed in the hallway, deep and calm. Zara felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. Dr. Sterling chuckled, tossing his gloves into a biohazard container. Of course it worked. The emergency records are in the system. The fake ambulance report is filed. Officially, Marcus suffered severe internal trauma. I can't wait to see Zara's face, Simone said with a snake-like hiss, handing Marcus a bottle of water. I bet she's on her way here now, crying her eyes out. Poor fool. Marcus laughed. A sound that once comforted Zara now sounded demonic. She's so predictable. Completely devastated by now. Zara bit into her palm, physical pain barely registering against the agony in her heart. When she arrives, Dr. Sterling said, his tone becoming serious. We play our parts. Marcus, you go to the recovery room and lie down. We'll hook up the monitors and 4. You need to look weak but stable, post-operative. I know the drill, Marcus said, rolling his eyes. Weak survivor, grateful to be alive. I'll meet Zara in the waiting area, Dr. Sterling continued. I'll give her the news. The operation was successful, the bleeding stopped. But, he paused dramatically. But, Simone's eyes gleamed with anticipation. But during surgery we discovered something else, a dangerous blood clot near the pancreas. I'll tell her we need her signature for a second emergency procedure tomorrow morning. A very high-risk internal procedure. Marcus smiled maliciously. And during that procedure? Exactly, Dr. Sterling nodded. A complication with the anesthesia. Very tragic, but we did everything possible. If something happens to her on the operating table, it would be unfortunate, but unavoidable. The pieces fell into place. The target wasn't Marcus. It was her. Zara's mind flashed back 3 weeks. Marcus had brought home papers for a new life insurance policy worth millions. When Zara questioned why they needed it, he said it was for their future. She'd even joked, "Why am I the insured one? You're the one with the dangerous job." Marcus had just laughed and told her to sign. And trusting as always she had. She'd signed her own death warrant. Their argument earlier, Zara had complained about the expensive insurance premiums and suggested canceling the policy. No wonder Marcus got angry. She'd almost ruined his murder plan. When she doesn't wake up, Marcus's voice pulled Zara from her horrified thoughts. The insurance payout is $3 million. We can disappear to Costa Rica and start fresh. Simone laughed and linked her arm through Marcus's. I've already booked the flights to San Jose. First class, naturally. The 3 conspirators, her husband, his mistress, and her family doctor, had planned her murder with chilling precision. In a hospital, the place that should be safest. Zara's fear transformed into something else. Something cold and sharp. Fury. She watched them walk down the hallway, their footsteps fading. The corridor became silent again. Zara leaned against the door, shaking, not from fear but from pure rage. Suddenly, she heard a key turning in her door lock. Someone was coming in from outside. The door opened slowly. A beam of light pierced the darkness. "Mrs. Zara," Nurse Keisha whispered, slipping inside quickly and locking the door behind her. "Did you see them?" Keisha asked, breathing hard. Zara could only nod, tears of rage streaming down her face. "Did you hear everything?" "Everything," Zara whispered hoarsely. "The insurance, the fake surgery, the plan for tomorrow." Keisha closed her eyes. "I suspected, but to hear it confirmed. Why are you helping me? You're risking everything." Keisha sat on the floor beside Zara. "I've suspected Dr. Sterling for months. He's not a doctor. He's a predator. He targets patients with large insurance policies, schedules routine surgeries, then creates complications on the operating table. Anesthesia reactions, unexpected bleeding, things that can't be proven as negligence. The patient dies, insurance pays out, and Dr. Sterling receives generous research donations weeks later. How did you know about Marcus?" "About me. I was on duty tonight when I saw the emergency surgery scheduled under Marcus's name. But there was no data from the ER, no ambulance report, no admission records. The patient appeared out of nowhere. So I checked Dr. Sterling's office." Keisha's eyes hardened. "I found the real file. Marcus had a full health checkup 2 days ago. Result, perfect health. And in the same drawer, your insurance policy. $3 million. Dr. Sterling's name was listed as the medical advisor. Everything connected. You saved my life, Keisha." "Not yet," Keisha said firmly. "They're expecting you. You have to play your role, just like they're playing theirs." I can't look at Marcus and pretend." "You have to. Right now, they've moved Marcus to the recovery room. They'll call you any moment. You need to act devastated, relieved he survived. Play the terrified wife. What then? They'll present papers for tomorrow's operation. You have to refuse, but not directly. Say you're in shock, that you need time to think, that you have to call his mother first. Any excuse. Don't sign anything tonight. We need time." "Time for what?" "To get evidence," Keisha said. "We can't just run, they'll find you. We can't go to the police with only our story. They'll say you're hysterical. We need proof." "What proof?" "First, Marcus's real health report from Dr. Sterling's office. Second, the fake surgery records in the system. Third, security camera footage. Marcus didn't arrive by ambulance. He came on his own. Probably parked in the underground staff lot. If we get footage of him walking calmly into the hospital tonight, his whole accident story collapses. Keisha pulled out a white access card. This is a master key card I took from reception. But there's a problem. The basement corridor has cameras, and Dr. Sterling monitors them from his office. What do we do? I'll create a distraction. I'm going to trigger the fire alarm on an upper floor. That'll keep security busy. You'll sneak down to the basement, into Dr. Sterling's office. Find Marcus's file. Then go to the server room and copy the security footage from tonight. Keisha handed Zara a small USB drive. Use this to copy the data. Then meet me at the basement emergency exit. Keisha, I don't know how to do this. You can. You have to. It's our only chance. Just then Zara's phone vibrated. The name on the screen made her blood boil. Dr. Vincent Sterling. They're calling, Keisha whispered. Answer. Play your role, weak, hysterical, submissive. Zara took a deep breath and answered, forcing a sob into her voice. Hello. Mrs. Zara, thank God. Dr. Sterling's voice was warm and compassionate, sickeningly so. Where are you? We've been waiting. I need to speak with you about your husband. I just arrived. My husband, how is he, doctor? Zara sobbed convincingly. A dramatic pause. He's a fighter, Mrs. Zara. The operation was extremely difficult. We almost lost him twice. The internal bleeding was severe. Another pause. But my team and I managed to stabilize him. He's past the worst, though he's still very weak. He's in recovery room 4 on the 5th floor. Oh, thank God. Zara cried, faking relief. Thank you, doctor. You can see him now, but there's another urgent matter we must discuss regarding his treatment. Please come to recovery room 4 immediately. Yes, doctor. I'm coming right now. Zara hung up and looked at Keisha with steel in her eyes. It's time. Remember, Keisha gripped Zara's shoulders. They'll show you the papers. Don't sign. Make any excuse. Then get to the basement. I'll trigger the alarm and meet you at the emergency exit with the evidence. Zara nodded and silently opened the break room door. The hallway was quiet. She walked down the corridor with deliberately unsteady steps, playing the devastated wife. She reached the door marked Recovery Room 4, and pushed it open gently. The room was dimly lit by monitor screens. Dr. Sterling stood by the bed with a clipboard. Simone lurked in the corner with a fake expression of concern. And in the bed lay Marcus. His performance was flawless. His face was made up to look pale. And 4 ran into his hand. A heart monitor beeped steadily beside him. Marcus's eyes were closed. His breathing shallow and controlled to appear weak. Marcus. Oh, baby. Zara rushed to the bedside, sobbing hysterically. She took his hand. It was warm and strong, not the hand of a man who'd nearly died. Zara used every ounce of willpower not to squeeze his fingers until they broke. Doctor, he looks so pale, Zara said, turning to Dr. Sterling with tear-filled eyes. Dr. Sterling patted her shoulder. He's lost significant blood, Mrs. Zara. But he'll recover. He's strong. Thank God. Zara whispered. However, Dr. Sterling said, the word Zara was waiting for. There's a complication. Zara lifted her face, feigning fear. What complication? During surgery, while we were controlling the bleeding, we discovered something unexpected. A large blood clot near the pancreas. It's not related to the accident, but it's extremely dangerous. It could rupture at any moment. You mean? We need to remove it. Zara's lips trembled. Immediately, Dr. Sterling said firmly. I've scheduled a second emergency surgery for tomorrow at 8 a.m. A deep tissue procedure to remove the clot. In the corner, Simone suppressed a smile. Another operation. Zara whispered. For his safety, yes. But Mrs. Zara. Dr. Sterling turned a page on his clipboard. The procedure is high risk. The clot is in a delicate location. There's significant danger of complications with anesthesia and internal bleeding. I need your written consent. Dr. Sterling held out the clipboard. On it was a form titled High-Risk Surgical Consent, with a signature line waiting for her, the signature that would authorize her own murder. Marcus's eyes fluttered open. "Sign it, sweetheart," he whispered weakly like a bad actor. "I trust Dr. Sterling completely." Simone stepped forward. "Mrs. Zara, Marcus needs this. Please don't hesitate. It's for him." The three of them surrounded her. 3 predators closing in on their prey. Zara looked at the pen Dr. Sterling offered. She looked at Marcus's fake sickly face. She looked at Simone's barely concealed smirk. I. Zara began shaking violently, half real this time. "I can't. Mrs. Zara, it's urgent," Dr. Sterling pressed, his smile beginning to fade. "I can't," Zara screamed, pushing the clipboard away. "I feel dizzy, nauseous. Another high-risk surgery. I have to call Marcus's mother. I can't make this decision alone." She sobbed convincingly. "I need air. I need the restroom." Before Dr. Sterling or Simone could react, Zara bolted from the room. "Mrs. Zara, wait," Dr. Sterling shouted. But Zara didn't stop. She ran down the hallway, past the nurse's station, toward the end of the corridor where Keisha had directed her. Suddenly, a deafening fire alarm echoed throughout the building. Nurses emerged from rooms, confused. A security guard ran toward the main elevators, speaking urgently into his radio. Keisha's distraction. In the chaos, no one noticed Zara. She reached a metal door marked, "Service Elevator, Staff Only." She swiped Keisha's keycard. The door opened. Zara stepped into the narrow elevator and pressed B for basement. The doors closed, muffling the chaotic alarm. Alone in the descending elevator, Zara leaned against the wall, her heart racing. She'd won the first round. But now she was descending into the predator's lair. The elevator stopped with a soft ding. The doors opened to reveal a stark contrast to the clean surgical floor above. The basement was dark, cold, and smelled of dampness. Large pipes ran along the low ceiling, some dripping water onto cracked concrete. The fire alarm from above was a distant, muffled echo. Zara stepped out, clutching Keisha's keycard. She followed barely visible signs. Archives. Maintenance. Server room. At the end of the corridor, in a slightly better lit area, she saw 2 doors side by side. One read, "Dr. Vincent Sterling, Chief of Surgery." The other was a heavy metal door. "Server room, restricted access." This was his lair. Zara decided to check Dr. Sterling's office first for Marcus's medical records. She swiped the keycard. The heavy wooden door opened silently. She slipped inside. The office was surprisingly luxurious. Thick carpets, a massive mahogany desk, towering bookshelves. It smelled of expensive coffee and leather. "Blood money," Zara muttered. She ran to the desk. The drawers were locked. No time to pick them. Her eyes went to the bookshelves. Among thick medical textbooks were rows of binders. She read the labels: research, calendar, patients. She pulled out patients. Not there. She grabbed another. Special cases. Inside she found it, a thin, unlabeled folder. She opened it. Her heart skipped a beat. Marcus's medical checkup from 2 days ago. At the bottom, a large red stamp. Optimal physical condition. Next to it was a thicker folder. Financial documents. Foreclosure notice. Bankruptcy papers for Marcus's construction company showing millions in debt. Physical evidence and motive. Zara pulled out her phone with shaking hands and photographed every page. The checkup, the stamp, the bankruptcy documents. She returned the files and left the office, closing the door silently. Now for the security footage. She approached the metal server room door and swiped the card. The door opened with a blast of cold air and mechanical humming. The room was filled with server racks, green and yellow lights blinking. She found a bank of monitors and video recorders in the corner. She read the labels: lobby, hallway 5, or underground staff parking. Perfect. She pulled out Keisha's USB drive and inserted it into a port on the recorder. A progress bar appeared. Copying. 10%. 20%. Zara's heart pounded to the rhythm of the slowly rising percentage. 30%. 40%. She watched the real-time feed from the parking lot. It was empty now. 50%. 60%. Please hurry, she whispered. 70%. 80%. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside in the basement corridor. 2 people walking fast. Zara's blood ran cold. The fire alarm must have been shut off. They were looking for her. 90%. 95%. The footsteps stopped right outside the server room door. She couldn't have gone far. Dr. Sterling's crisp voice. Check my office. I'll check the server room. 98%. 99%. The door handle started to turn. Copy complete. Zara yanked out the USB drive just as the server room door swung open. In the doorway stood Dr. Sterling, eyes blazing with fury. Behind him, Simone smiled triumphantly. Looking for something, Zara? Simone sneered sweetly. It was a good try, Mrs. Zara, Dr. Sterling said, stepping into the room. He glanced at the video recorder, then at the USB drive in Zara's hand. Hiding in the break room, faking your hysteria, running to the basement. Did you really think we were that stupid? And Nurse Keisha, Zara whispered. That meddling little nurse. Dr. Sterling chuckled coldly. We've already dealt with her. She won't be bothering anyone anymore. Zara's stomach twisted. What had they done to Keisha? You thought you were clever, didn't you? Simone stepped forward and snatched the phone from Zara's pocket. She looked at the photo gallery. Oh, our evidence. How adorable. She deleted the photos one by one, right in front of Zara's eyes. Marcus's checkup. The bankruptcy papers. All gone. But I have this. Zara held up the USB drive desperately. The footage of Marcus walking in healthy. You can't delete this. Dr. Sterling smiled. The coldest smile Zara had ever seen. Really? Look closely at what you copied. Zara's confidence wavered. That recording you worked so hard to copy, Dr. Sterling explained as if teaching a student, is a loop of yesterday's footage we prepared specifically for anyone who came snooping. Your USB drive is worthless. Zara looked at the drive in her hand. Suddenly felt useless. And those files in my office. Dr. Sterling continued. That medical report was a fake copy we planted as bait. The real records are already destroyed. It was a trap. Her entire escape to the basement had been planned. They'd let her run. They'd herded her down here like prey. Welcome to the real trap, Mrs. Zara, Dr. Sterling said. Now you have 2 choices. Sign the consent the easy way. Simone stepped forward, pulling something from behind her back, a large syringe filled with clear liquid. Or we make you sign it, Simone finished. And then we'll proceed with your emergency procedure right here, right now. The cold server room suddenly felt suffocating. The buzzing server racks seemed to close in on her. She was trapped with 2 predators, and every move she'd thought was clever had actually been part of their plan. But Zara wasn't the same woman from 3 hours ago. Deep inside, beneath the fear, that cold fury still burned. If the new evidence was fake, she'd have to use old evidence. Zara raised her hands, pretending to tremble. She looked at Dr. Sterling with pleading eyes. Okay. I lost. You win. Dr. Sterling smiled slightly. A wise choice. I'll sign, Zara said hoarsely. But please let me make one quick call to Marcus's mother. I just want to hear her voice one last time. Simone scoffed. Oh, how dramatic. Dr. Sterling considered for a moment. No calls. Sign now. At least give me my phone back, Zara begged, pointing to her phone in Simone's hand. My family photos are in there. I just want to see my mother's picture. Simone rolled her eyes but looked at Dr. Sterling, who nodded slightly. Give it to her. She can't call anyone from this basement anyway. We've blocked all signals. Course they had. They'd planned everything. Simone tossed the phone at Zara's feet. Here. Enjoy your memories. Zara crouched slowly, every movement calculated to look defeated. She picked up the phone, hands shaking, but this time she controlled the tremor. She held the phone, staring at the dark screen. "Thank you," she whispered. Then she straightened up, and her entire demeanor changed. Her hunched posture became straight. Her pleading eyes turned cold and hard. Her pale face tensed with determination. Dr. Sterling and Simone felt the shift. Their smiles faltered. "You're right," Zara said, her voice flat and cold. "It was a good game. Good bait. But you made one mistake." "And what's that?" Simone sneered. "You assumed I only discovered my husband's betrayal tonight," Zara said. "But I've been smelling this rot for months." She unlocked her phone. Simone had deleted the photos from the gallery, but she didn't know about a hidden cloud folder. "Before I sign," Zara said, "I want you to hear something. Consider it a farewell gift." She pressed play. For a second, nothing. Then Marcus's voice filled the server room, clear and unmistakable. "No, I don't care about permits. Just make sure the bribe money is in the offshore account by month's end. 200,000. Clean it through the construction supplies. I don't want questions." The recording was from 4 months ago, a call between Marcus and a business partner. Marcus was arranging bribes and money laundering for his construction projects. Zara had secretly recorded it while he argued in his home office, thinking she might need it for a divorce someday. She never imagined she'd use it to save her life. Dr. Sterling and Simone froze, faces going pale. That has nothing to do with this," Dr. Sterling stuttered. "Oh, but it does, doctor," Zara said, stepping forward confidently. "This proves my husband's criminal character. This recording, combined with my testimony, will trigger a police investigation into all his dealings, including his insurance fraud scheme with you." "You won't leave this room alive," Simone hissed, raising the syringe. "Probably not," Zara said with a defiant look. "But this phone," she held it high, "has been recording our entire conversation from the moment you walked in. And this recording is uploading to the cloud right now. If my heart stops, or if I don't enter a security code in the next 3 minutes, this recording, your confession, your threats, along with Marcus's money laundering, will be sent automatically to my lawyer, the editor of the Atlanta Journal, and the district attorney's office." It was a bluff. The signal really was blocked. Nothing was uploading. But they didn't know that. Dr. Sterling's eyes widened in terror. "He bought it. Stop her!" Dr. Sterling shouted, panicking. "Simone, inject her now." Simone snapped out of her shock, screamed, and lunged at Zara with the syringe aimed like a weapon. Zara backed up, hitting the cold server racks. Nowhere to run. She raised her hands to protect her face, bracing for the needle's sting. "Freeze!" A new voice boomed through the basement space, full of fury and authority. The server room door burst open. In the doorway stood Marcus, still in his fake hospital scrubs, face red with rage. He didn't look like a weak patient. He looked like a king who'd discovered betrayal. "What the hell are you doing?" Marcus roared. "The plan was the recovery room, not the basement." He stopped abruptly, taking in the scene. Panicked Dr. Sterling, frozen Simone with syringe raised, and Zara standing tall with her phone like a weapon. Marcus looked at Zara, and the fury on his face slowly transformed into shock, then cold hatred. He finally understood. His wife knew everything. A standoff. For people in the humming server room. 3 predators now looked at each other with suspicion. Their prey stood in the center, holding the most important card. Marcus stepped inside, eyes never leaving Zara. "So," he said in a dangerously low voice. "You knew." "I knew everything, Marcus," Zara replied, her voice equally cold. "The fake surgery. The insurance. Your plan to murder me on the operating table tomorrow." Marcus turned sharply to Dr. Sterling. You said she wouldn't know. You said you handled Nurse Keisha. She set us up, Dr. Sterling stammered, pointing at Zara. She faked everything. And she has a recording, an old one of you discussing your business. What recording? Marcus demanded. Play it, Zara told herself. She had to turn them against each other. She pressed play again. Marcus's voice ordering the laundering of $200,000 filled the room. Marcus closed his eyes. He knew that recording. He knew exactly when it happened. But he had no idea Zara had captured it. You! Marcus hissed, glaring at Zara. So that was your plan. Trap me with that. That's just the beginning, Zara said, pressing harder. That only proves your character. But this. She held up the phone. Has recorded every word in this room. Dr. Sterling's confession about handling Keisha. Simone's threats. And now you're here, confirming the whole plan. Simone and Dr. Sterling stepped back nervously, but Marcus laughed, a dry, terrible laugh. You think I'm an idiot, Zara? This is a basement. No signal. No cloud. No lawyers. Nothing's been sent. Zara's heart sank. She knew her bluff had failed. Marcus knew her too well. Give me that phone, Marcus ordered, reaching out his hand. No, Zara whispered. Give it to me. Marcus lunged forward, faster than Zara expected. His hand clamped around her wrist, twisting brutally. Zara screamed. The phone slipped from her grip and skidded across the concrete floor, screen cracking. Marcus grinned, raising his foot to crush it. Game over. Too late. A new voice, loud, confident, righteous, came from the doorway. Everyone spun around. In the doorway stood Nurse Keisha, unharmed and standing tall. Behind her were two large hospital security officers with stern expressions. Marcus's eyes widened. Dr. Sterling stumbled backward. No. Impossible. Did you really think I'd send Mrs. Zara alone into your trap, Doctor? Keisha said, walking into the room with authority. The fire alarm wasn't a distraction for the guards. It was a distraction for you. While you were chasing Zara, these officers and I went to the central control room. We disabled your fake video loop. We took control of the real system. Keisha pointed to a security camera in the corner of the server room ceiling. Its red light blinked steadily. That camera has been recording every word you said in this room, Keisha announced. Every threat, every confession, recorded in real time by the head of hospital security. Marcus, Dr. Sterling, and Simone stared at the camera in horror. They were completely trapped. And that USB drive, Zara added, pointing to the drive still on the recorder. That was bait to keep you busy. While you were focused on me, Keisha copied the real footage of Marcus's arrival, showing him walking calmly through the staff entrance, laughing with Simone. We have everything. Silence. Only the hum of servers filled the room. Marcus's face went from red to pale. His perfect plan had crumbled. Dr. Sterling was the first to crack. He saw his entire life collapsing. His career, his freedom, everything. His eyes darted frantically, landing on the syringe Simone had dropped earlier. With a desperate roar, Dr. Sterling dove for it. You won't take me alive. But he didn't attack Zara. He lunged at Keisha, the one with all the technical evidence. Keisha, watch out! Zara screamed. But Keisha didn't flinch. She'd anticipated this. As Dr. Sterling charged, Keisha stepped forward, pulling her own small syringe from her uniform pocket. Take this, Keisha said calmly, plunging the needle directly into Dr. Sterling's thigh as he entered her range. Maximum dose sedative. You know the effects, don't you, Doctor? Dr. Sterling froze, eyes wide with shock. He looked at the syringe protruding from his leg. He tried to pull it out, but his hands began shaking. His legs buckled. He collapsed to the floor like a sack of bricks, eyes rolling back. Unconscious. Simone screamed hysterically, seeing her accomplice fall. She lost all composure, turned, and tried to shove past the security officers to escape. But the second guard caught her easily, spinning her around and handcuffing her wrists behind her back. Only Marcus remained. He stood frozen, staring at the unconscious Dr. Sterling, the weeping Simone, and Zara, who looked at him with fearless eyes. Blind fury overtook Marcus. If he was going down, he'd take Zara with him. "This is all your fault," he roared. He forgot the guards. He forgot the cameras. His eyes saw only Zara. Marcus threw himself forward, hands reaching for her throat. "Sir, don't move," the first security guard shouted, stepping to block him. But Marcus, driven by desperation and rage, had unexpected strength. He rammed his shoulder into the guard's chest, making him stumble. In a split second, Marcus bypassed the defense. He reached Zara, grabbing the collar of her robe and yanking hard. Zara's head jerked forward painfully. Marcus's other hand clawed at her shoulder, nails tearing fabric. "I'll kill you," he growled, face inches from hers. But Zara was no longer the same woman from hours ago. Fear had been replaced by survival instinct. When Marcus pulled her forward, Zara brought her knee up hard, striking him in the groin. He grunted but didn't let go. Instead, he became more enraged, shaking her violently. "Let her go," Keisha shouted, running to help. The first guard recovered, lunging from behind and wrapping his arms around Marcus's chest in a powerful restraint hold. "You're under arrest," the guard commanded, lifting Marcus off the ground. But Marcus's grip on Zara's clothes wouldn't release. Zara was dragged upward with him, nearly choking. "Let go! Let go!" Zara screamed, tearing at her own robe to free herself. Marcus now turned his fury on the guard holding him, struggling wildly, kicking and elbowing backward. "Get off me! She's mine! Calm down! Stop resisting!" the guard ordered, trying to force Marcus to the ground. But Marcus was too wild. He twisted violently, trying to break free from the hold. It was a desperate, reckless move. The brutal twist broke the guard's grip, but it also threw Marcus off balance. His left foot caught on the leg of the unconscious Dr. Sterling lying on the floor. Zara, Keisha, and both guards watched in horrible slow motion. Marcus stumbled backward, falling directly toward the main server rack, a solid black metal frame filled with heavy equipment. His back hit first, but the momentum was too strong. His head snapped back violently. The base of his skull impacted the sharp steel edge of the server frame. The sound wasn't loud, just a dry, sickening crack. Silence. All sound ceased. Simone stopped crying. The guards froze. The steady hum of servers suddenly felt deafeningly loud. Marcus didn't slide to the floor. He remained suspended in a strange sitting position against the rack, head hanging at an unnatural angle. His eyes were open, staring at Zara. But the burning fury had vanished. What remained was pure shock and confusion. "Marcus," Zara whispered, taking an involuntary step forward. The guard who'd held him approached cautiously. "Mr. Marcus, we need an ambulance to the basement," he shouted to his partner. Marcus opened his mouth. No sound came, just a shallow gasp. He tried to lift a hand. It didn't move. He tried to move his legs. They remained motionless. Pure terror, different from rage, filled his eyes. He looked at Zara, tried to speak. I can't move." His voice was a gritty whisper. "My legs. My hands. I don't feel anything." Zara stared at her husband, the man who'd tried to kill her seconds before. The man who'd planned her death on an operating table. The man who'd faked being paralyzed. Now he was truly paralyzed. "Dear God," Keisha whispered, covering her mouth. Zara felt nothing. No compassion. No satisfaction. Just cold emptiness. The irony was too cruel, too swift, too perfect. Karma had arrived. Not in a courtroom, not in a prison cell, but here in this cold server room, in the middle of his own evil scheme. Marcus was trapped. not behind bars but in the prison of his own body. "Don't touch him," the guard shouted, seeing Zara approach. "Don't touch his neck. Wait for the medical team." Zara stopped. She stood there, looking at her now helpless husband. The healthy man had become a genuine patient, far worse than he'd ever pretended to be. The server room doors opened again. This time, the real chief of security entered, followed by 2 uniformed city police officers he'd summoned after watching the live footage. They stopped in the doorway, surveying the chaos. Simone handcuffed and sobbing, Dr. Sterling unconscious on the floor, Marcus paralyzed against the server rack, and Zara standing in the ruins of her life, clothes torn but standing tall and unbroken. The game was over. Dawn arrived slowly. The first rays of sunlight filtered through high windows in the hospital lobby, but the light seemed strange and distant to Zara. She sat in a quiet staff lounge, wrapped in a thick hospital blanket. Keisha sat beside her, holding untouched cups of tea. Neither spoke. They'd told everything repeatedly to the security chief, to police detectives, to prosecutors. The server room became a crime scene. Dr. Sterling, once he regained consciousness, was handcuffed to a hospital bed. Simone was taken away in a squad car before dawn, her hysterical screams echoing through the empty parking lot. And Marcus, the medical team arrived with extreme caution, fitted him with a cervical collar, transferred him to a spine board, and rushed him to the ER, then to MRI, finally to the trauma ICU. The diagnosis came as the sun rose. Burst fracture of the C5 vertebra. Spinal cord severed. Quadriplegic. Completely paralyzed from the neck down. He could breathe on his own, barely, but could move nothing else. Forever. The following days blurred together. Zara stayed at her parents' house, refusing contact with anyone except her attorney. The news exploded. Fake surgery scandal at Metropolitan General. Photos of Dr. Sterling, Simone, and Marcus appeared on every news outlet. Justice was swift. The video and audio recordings from the server room were irrefutable evidence. Dr. Sterling faced the most charges: conspiracy to commit murder, gross medical negligence, insurance fraud, assault. Keisha's testimony opened investigations into years of other suspicious, surgical complications. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, stripped of his medical license, destined to die in disgrace. Simone, as an accomplice, was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and received 25 years in prison. Keisha was celebrated as a hero. After the hospital completely overhauled its leadership, they offered her a new position: Chief Ethics and Patient Safety Officer. She accepted, determined to ensure no one like Dr. Sterling could ever operate again. Zara filed for divorce the same day Marcus was transferred from intensive care. She attached evidence of attempted murder and the audio recording of money laundering. The court granted the divorce immediately in absentia. All assets were frozen. The insurance policy was voided. Marcus's multi-million-dollar debts remained his responsibility, or rather, the state-appointed trustee's burden. Zara was free, financially, legally, emotionally. 2 months later, Zara decided she needed closure. She visited Marcus one final time. He was no longer in a luxury hospital. He'd been transferred to a state-run long-term care facility for inmates with special medical needs. His room was small, sterile, smelling of antiseptic and despair. He lay in a specialized bed, head immobilized by supports, staring at the ceiling. A nurse was adjusting his feeding tube when Zara entered. Marcus's eyes darted sharply toward the door. He saw her. Zara wore a simple navy dress. She looked calm, healthy, strong. Marcus's eyes narrowed with pure, impotent hatred. He tried to speak. A gurgling sound emerged from his throat. Zara walked slowly to his bedside. She stood silently for a moment, looking at the man she once loved. She felt no compassion, no anger, just finality. "I came to tell you one thing," Zara said softly, her voice calm and clear in the silent room. Marcus stared at her with bloodshot eyes. "You wanted to put me on an operating table," Zara continued. You wanted me helpless, dependent on machines, so you could start a new life. Marcus made that awful gurgling sound again, louder. Now you're the one trapped in a bed, Zara said, leaning closer. You're the one who depends on others for everything. Forever. Ironic, isn't it? She straightened up. Enjoy the rest of your life, Marcus. Zara turned and walked out, past the guards through the facility doors. Outside, the sun shone brilliantly. The morning air was fresh and clean. Zara took a deep breath, feeling warmth on her face. For the first time in months, she felt truly free. She walked down the steps toward her car, toward the rest of her new life. Then,